People of South Africa, I greet you, members of our mother body ANC, South African Communist Party, Congress of South African Trade Union, and our genuine progressive consent, citizens of our country. I greet you in the name of our fallen heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for the liberation of our country, South Africa. We, the veterans of Mkmva, Mkmva, this is the month to celebrate and honor our heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for the liberation of our country, South Africa. Starting from our forefathers who were brutally killed by white criminals who forcefully took our land and our livestock and left us in poverty, the poverty that we are experiencing today. Our forefathers fought to the last man, facing the guns with their spears in Mkmva, the War of Blood River, where the river turned into blood. The British must tell us, where did they bury the head of our king, Uhindza, the king of the Xhosa tribe? We want to know the truth. This is the month of collective revolutionary remembrance of our heroes and heroines who left an indelible mark for the next generation to come. Comrade Chris Hani, Mama Rita Nzanga, Naftal Manana, Utata Lawrence Nzanga, Comrade Zandi, Nobutula Smelane, Ruth First, Dulcie September, Neil Agent, David Webster, the Craddock Four, the Mamelodi Four, and Comrade Nzima and his wife who were car-bombed in Swaziland, not forgetting our living stalwarts, Mama Gertrude Shobe and Mama Sophie Debray, who are still breathing and kicking, just to mention the few. The Day of National Reconciliation is celebrated in different historical cultural backgrounds, lacking national cultural unity in diversity. The nation is still far away from reaching the point of national reconciliation destination. Racism is still a highly dangerous, polluted air in South Africa. The journey is still too long to travel. There is no rainbow nation in South Africa. The situation in the Middle East, Gaza, has exposed racism in South Africa on the international platform, whereby the South African police force was forced to neutralize the havoc that was boiling between the black and the whites over the genocide committed by Israel. Britain, America, and Western Europe are complicit to this Middle East massacre. The privileged white minority still owns 70% of our land. The farm workers are being brutalized by white farm owners. Our women being eaten by pigs in their own motherland, South Africa. Our constitutional court has dismally failed us on issues of racism. I have records pertaining to that. These white racists vandalized our national heroes. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. These white racists vandalized the grave of our national hero, Chris Hani. White supremacy is dominating in our judicial system. The National Prosecuting Authority is just rubbing salt in our wounds. We, the veterans of Mkmva, Mkmva, during War of Liberation, we were always in the first line of attack and the first line of defense under the leadership of Oliver Tambo, the late president of the ANC. We were always ready to fight and die, if need be, for the liberation of our motherland, South Africa. We even took an oath in the jungles of Angola and Zambia under the leadership of Oliver Tambo. The release of Walus, the killer, by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, without him disclosing who sent him to kill Chris Hani, and approved by our government. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, you have created more killer disease in Hani's family, pleasing the former colonial masters, the British and the Afrikaners. The former Chief Justice Mkmva once said, "Judges are not holy cows, they can be bought." Proper legal procedures were not followed at all. Today, Janusz Walus has been deported back to Poland after enjoying 2 years of parole holidays in South Africa. No justice, no peace. Our hero, Mini, the first cadre of Mkmva to be sentenced to death. When the judgment was passed on in court, he never trembled. Instead, he sang a song, "Nansi indoda emnyama very good. Here is the black man very good. Basopa nansi indoda emnyama very good. Be careful of a black man very good. Hiyo indoda emnyama very good. This is a black man very good." Verwoerd was there, then the Prime Minister of racist South Africa. When Mini's daughter reached youthful stage, she decided to follow her father's footsteps, joining Mkmva. She was brutally killed in Maseru raid in Lesotho in 1987. The father and the daughter died for the people's cause, the liberation of our country, South Africa. Viva the spirit of Mini and the daughter. Our heroine, Mama Rita Nzanga, our Isitwalandwe stalwart, was twice detained in solitary confinement in harsh conditions. The apartheid regime tortured her husband to death in John Foster Square in Johannesburg. They refused the wife to bury her husband, Lawrence Nzanga. Their son, Tops, was in the ranks of Mkmva in the jungles of Angola in 1977. These are our heroines that we are proud of. Our heroine, Zand, was kidnapped in Swaziland in 1989 and left her baby boy, who was less than 4 months old, crying alone on the bed. She was brutally tortured in South Africa. She refused to work with the system against her own comrades. They tortured her to death. Zandi was a former Ongoye student from KwaZulu-Natal. She left a revolutionary, indelible mark for the next generation to come. Her son is now a well-grown up man. Viva the spirit of Zandi. This is a collective time to remember our heroes and heroines and cement our revolutionary ideals for a better future. Our heroine, the wife of the late Joe Slovo, was later bombed in Maputo in Mozambique in 1981. Umkhonto wesizwe, with a big heavy artillery weapon, retaliated. The Voortrekkerhoogte barrack was bombed in Pretoria under the field commander of Bani Mulukwane and his deputy, Comrade Faku Velapi Msane. The enemy never reported the casualties. It was difficult for the racist South African Defence Force to believe and accept. Our heroine, Dulcie September, was shot dead with 5 bullets behind her head. The alliance partners were deeply disturbed of this incident. They intensify operations inside the country. The racist apartheid was more than brutal to our women. They were merciless. The attack of Kasinga refugee camp of Swapo, where women and children were massacred by the racist apartheid regime. I will not forget that incident. After the incident of Kasinga, the imperialist forces, USA, South Africa, France, Britain, and West Germany suffered a humiliating defeat in Mkmva Valley in Angola. The Afrikaners were forced to pray and accept the defeat. P.W. Bottle, the crocodile, suffered a stroke. The independence of Namibia was discussed by America, Britain, Russia, Angola, and Cuba. SWAPO was enjoying only observer status. Viva SWAPO! Viva the spirit of the liberation movements in Southern Africa. Victory is certain. SWAPO refused to accept $1.2 billion as reparation for the Hereros massacre by the Germany in 2021. Yeah, stop it. We, the veterans of Umkhonto wesizwe, Mkmva, we are not going to allow the enemy within to destroy ANC. We want our land back. 70% of our land is owned by 10% of white minority. This is a gross violation of human rights. How can you fight poverty, unemployment, and inequality when the majority of our black people don't own the land? South Africa is classified as one of the most unequal society in the world. Thabo Mbeki told our people that we mustn't take our land back. It will create tribalism and drive away the investors. We were shocked. A former president uttering such a demoralizing statement. Most of our senior political veterans of the alliance regard the situation as a time-ticking bomb between the haves and the have-nots. Blacks being classified as poor of the poorest in such a rich country of theirs, with a reasonable population of 62 million, both black and white. Blacks being in majority, owning 3% of their country's wealth. stated by one of our South African newspapers this month of December 24. The European economic rating agencies, Moody's and others, misleading the South Africans and the world over about the South African economic growth, saying that our economic growth faces prosperity if we do 1 and 2, which is lies, not talking about whites who own 70% of our land, which is a driving force for economic development. Threatening South Africa of heading for a grey list, meaning economic crisis, downplaying the ownership of the Reserve Bank by the state or the people, downplaying the ownership of the mine to the people, meaning beneficiation, darkening the ownership of the land so that it mustn't come to the eyes of the people. These economic rating agencies are political engineers defending the interests of the former colonial masters in Africa. Coup d'etat is imminent in South Africa. Conditions planned and implemented by Britain and America in the energy sector, transport logistics, financial sector, banks, Brazza Railway, South African Airways, and National Treasury, pushing for privatization, bank tribunal being proposed, cases of KPMG and others. The white monopoly capital has managed to create a battlefield in our leadership of the ANC. President Ramaphosa, stop telling our people lies that you are going to eradicate poverty with your so-called government of national unity strategy. This is a pipeline dream. Capitalism favors the few. For capitalism to survive, unemployment must be kept on to exist. Go to the Western countries, Britain, France, Germany, America, just to mention the few. You will keep your voice closed. Now, you are talking about national dialogue being endorsed for next year. It is just a waste of time, energy, and resources. Yeah.